Vice Chair of Harlow Council.
Welcome everybody to this month's full council meeting. Can I remind members that before we chair as the meeting progresses, is that okay? Thank you very much. Okay, right, let's get to the agenda. Apologies for absence.
Councillor Templar and Burke.
And Councillors Mike Hardware, Shelley Johnson, Russell Perry and Tony Hall.
Thank you. Item 2, declaration of interest. Are there any? No?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be speaking about HCS group in the main debate. So I'm declaring a personal interest as a council-appointed non-executive director of HCS Group Limited and HCS Property and Environment Limited.
Right. And it's Chair. Not Madam Chair. Yep. Okay. Item 3, minutes of the meeting held on the 24th of May, pages 3 to 11. Are they agreed?
Agreed.
Yep.
No.
Right.
Paragraph 10, appointment to the Cabinet. Just wanted to have a check on this because it seems that the portfolio holder for governance is not there. Has she been sacked already, or is there?
That was a clerical error, obviously. I do apologise. But she's still there. Okay. So that will be changed. Okay. Thank you. Item 4, communication from Chair. Now, I feel quite sad at this stage, but I feel quite proud as well. What am I talking about? World Cup. I have to mention the World Cup because even if you're not a sporting person, the team we've got in Russia has done a fantastic job. And the thing that I'm absolutely proud of besides that team is the national pride that the countries have. We've come together, thousands and thousands over the months, and it's been absolutely fantastic, and I hope we could go on like that. But I feel quite sad now. I keep it in my own mind, keep repeating the song. It's driving me mad. But I had to mention it because it's been such a major event and that team's been fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to get on to some of the things that I've been doing as chair this time. On the first Saturday of my chair role, the 26th of May, I went to the International Day at Harlow Museum. It was boiling hot, but it was fantastic. I wore a sari, did some of the dancing, we had lots of food. It was absolutely lovely. And as the day progressed, we had more people coming. In the evening, we had a bit of a celebration, councillors and a couple of members of staff, and it was a really good day. Now, on the following day, that was Commonwealth Day on the 27th of May, and that was at St Paul's. And again, that was a wonderful service. And the food there that day was absolutely wonderful. It kept coming and it kept coming, and it was absolutely wonderful. And we had a really good time there. The next thing I wanted to raise was the Volunteers Week. We had it in the Harvey Centre on the 5th of June, and I went there to see the stalls. And on the 6th of June, we had the Playhouse. And the Pets Corner, the Playhouse, Friends of Pets Corner, the Hardon Wood team. It was absolutely amazing, and I was so proud of all the volunteers who did such an amazing job and keep charities and organisations ticking. We couldn't do without them. So it was an honour to actually give them certificates to raise their image. And the other thing that I loved was the Jack Petrie Awards. I did two, the 25th of June at the Playhouse, which was the school awards, and again I was so proud of our young people and what they're achieving. And on the 27th it was a performance. Now, for my showcase in January, I was ticking off some of the performers that I was seeing, and they will hopefully be coming to the Playhouse in January. And the last thing I wanted to raise was the Countess of Wessex when she came on the 26th of June. She was amazing. She took part in everything that went on the stage. Her security stay there. And she did the dancing with them, she was having a conversation in the circle, and Annette was absolutely wonderful. And the speech that the Countess made at the end of the whole thing, when she'd seen part of what the Raised Roof had done on their performance, she was very moved, and she was very genuine about that. And we had a wonderful time. So those are the things that, the last one is the 70th birthday of the NHS in the Harbour Centre. OMP Robert Houghton and I had to cut a cake, like a wedding cake. It was about that high, about that wide, and it took a bit of time to get through it. I had one size. We'll say about that. But it was really good. The stalls were wonderful, and again it was showing the image of the NHS, and I thoroughly enjoyed that part of it. Okay. Now, I just want to raise the updates. Carnival, August 26th, put that in your diary, starting to push there at 12 o'clock. And the golf tournament on the 3rd of September at Cannonbrook. We've got quite a few teams, we still could do with some more, so anyone who's got golfing, I haven't, but I know some of you have, so we really do need it for the charities. And the civic service at St Paul's on the 30th of September, I need your support from my chair's role to the councillors, and also when you go back into the civic centre and you're talking to different people, it's a really good occasion. So I just wanted to raise that as well. So I'm now done with my part of it, and we're on to item 5, petitions from the public, none. Questions from the public, none. Questions from councillors. Councillor Charles, you've got a question.
Thank you, Chair. Will the Leader of the Council confirm the Discover Harlow campaign priorities and the measures of success that have been developed in consultation with the public relations company Thinking Place?
Do you want to take that as read?
I would like to read out. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thinking Place is an organisation that works with places to enable them to work differently and harder to communicate the opportunities they offer and promote what makes their place special to ensure they stand out from the crowd. They were engaged to produce a campaign to show that Harlow is an attractive and dynamic place to invest, to live and do business. The work undertaken targets a regional and national audience and seeks to show companies and others that Harlow is the place to be. The campaign seeks to increase pride in the town, improve perceptions of the town, increase visitors to the town, and support and encourage all types of investment. These are therefore the campaign priorities. Thinking Place has worked with the council and a wide range of stakeholders to produce a new narrative for the town, delivered in the form of the Discover Harlow storybook, showreel, visual identity and language toolkit. They have supported the successful establishment of the Stakeholder Place Board, which will act as guardian to the campaign going forward. The board will be actively recruiting ambassadors who will also be key to progressing the campaign. Engagement in the Place Board and ambassador group and activities will be measures of success. The council will continue to monitor major investments, job creation and growth in numbers of businesses, in the knowledge that place marketing campaigns take some time to embed and are a contributory factor in influencing investment decisions. The Discover Harlow campaign was informed by the perceptions of individuals external to Harlow. At an appropriate point, the Place Board may wish to revisit these perceptions.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Charles, do you have something mention?
I do, Chair, thank you. Given that Thinking Place have been criticised in the media for developing, and I quote, the worst kind of PR guff imaginable, end quote, and one council was charged $75,000 by Thinking Places for a similar campaign to Harlow's, will the Leader of the Council confirm how much was paid to Thinking Place to create and launch the Discover Harlow campaign, and all the supporting research undertaken during their engagement period with Harlow Council? If the Council is retaining them, I would like to know that fee as well.
Thank you, Councillor Charles. I'll have to get back to you with the precise figures. I don't want to mislead you. However, they weren't appointed on a whim. Let me give you some examples. Coventry and Hull, both cities with much going for them, but with a poor public image, carried out a similar process as we did. They started with wide consultation, that's what we're doing. They developed similar materials that we're doing. They say places need to work differently and harder to communicate the opportunities they offer and promote what makes their place special to ensure they stand out from the crowd. Places need to focus on their distinctiveness and offers, aimed at enhancing their competitiveness and attractiveness. Our campaign is now underway. We have liaised with 80 people who attended the launch of Discover Harlow, and yesterday 40 individuals attended the Communications Masterclass run by Peter Anderson Studios. These are people all interested in utilising the Discover Harlow toolkit and assisting to promote the campaign. Our aim is to attract new business and retain the great names we already have, to be the place that people want to be, an excellent place to do business. John Keddy, the former chief executive of GlaxoSmithKline, often spoke of difficulties with recruitment because of the perceptions of Harlow. And when they did recruit new staff, they tended to live outside of the town and commuted in. Wouldn't it be great if when Public Health England moved to Harlow and they recruit staff from outside, they choose to live in Harlow. They choose to spend their recreation time in Harlow. They shop in Harlow because we have overcome the negative perceptions. Let me just finish by saying what Coventry and Hull achieved. They both went on to become European cities of culture. A huge change in the perception of them as towns. That's what we're aiming to do. We think it's money well spent.
Thank you, Councillor Ingle. Now we come on to the main debate, item 9. And this will be reminding members that this is a 40-minute debate, 10 minutes for Councillor Ingle and Johnson, 20 minutes for the debate itself. That's 5 minutes each if members wish to have that. And then summing up, 5 minutes from Councillor Johnson and then 5 minutes from Councillor Ingle. In accordance with Council Procedure Rule 17.3, I will now call on the Leader of the Council to introduce a debate on the work undertaken by the Council in 2017-18 municipal year, together with any highlights, pressures and potential issues for the coming year. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Before I start the main debate, we should take a moment to remember those who helped shape Harlow who have passed away. Council Officer Darren Fazackerley, whose passion for the environment showed in everything he did. Councillors Muriel and Joshua Jollies, and Councillor Harry Talbot, who contributed so much to the debate in this chamber. And local historian and author Ron Bill, who quite literally wrote the book on Harlow. We thank them for all they did for Harlow and for its residents. Yet again, this debate starts with a warning that we are living in turbulent times. Internationally, we look at the intolerant, bellicose language of the Trump administration and the uncertainty of our relationship with Europe, threatening international trade and driving down business investment that could well have an adverse effect on Harlow. Nationally, we have a government paralysed, still negotiating with itself on the most important change in the status of the UK in my lifetime. A Prime Minister still quarrelling with her Cabinet as to what Brexit means, arguing over options, all of which the EU have already said are unacceptable. A government in chaos that is unable to provide councils with the certainty they need to plan. The local government finance bill has been kicked so far down the road that it's now out of sight. Locally, we see our roads continue to worsen, despite hefty increases in the money taken by Essex County Council from local residents within the council tax demand. We see homelessness increasing, the use of food banks increasing, failure in the rollout of universal credit that results in benefit delays causing misery and hardship. And we see police numbers falling too. It is against this backdrop that Harlow Council have been working tirelessly to maintain and improve services. Despite national housing policy failure, this council continues to deliver on our pledge to provide more and better housing. The first affordable homes for rent completed at the Atelier development in Staple Tie were handed over to residents. The £71 million regeneration of the BCA estates is providing new green spaces, new landscaping, roads, parking, improved cycle and pedestrian routes and a new community centre. Our housing rents team was highlighted as a top performer for rent collection. Harlow Council was praised by BBC's The One Show for making available to tenants our fire inspection reports. Our environmental health and legal teams brought forward the prosecution of a landlord who failed to apply for a house in multiple occupancy licence. We are determined that all housing is free of major health and safety hazards, and this prosecution sends out a clear warning to landlords about licensing HMOs. At the Cabinet meeting in June, I was proud to announce our intention to use HTS to deliver 16 new dwellings at truly affordable council rents on secure long-term tenancies in 2018-19, with the capacity to provide 80 dwellings in the next 3 years, as the first step in an ambitious plan to address Harlow's acute housing needs. Harlow Council continued its work with Streets to Homes to provide emergency accommodation for anyone sleeping rough in Harlow. We live in the 6th richest economy in the world. The scandal of homelessness doubling in the last 8 years is unacceptable. We will do what we can with the £260,000 secured in our successful bid for funds to convert a disused property into specialist accommodation to tackle homelessness in Harlow. We are delivering on our pledge to regenerate those parts of Harlow that are in need of improvement, to deliver a thriving economy. The former derelict Nicholsfield Sports Pavilion was completely renovated and is now being well used. The Public Health England flag is now flying high in Harlow. The planned £400 million Centre of Excellence will bring high-quality job opportunities for Harlow residents, boosting the town's economy. We will continue to work closely with PHE and other organisations to highlight the advantages of relocating into the vibrant, forward-looking town that is Harlow. The town centre's Market Square makeover continues apace, and plans are in an advanced state for improvement in Bush Fair and the Stowe. In February, KO Park opened the first of its 4 data centre buildings on what is the largest development of its kind currently underway in the southeast of England. Its presence is enabling the development of a huge fibre optic capability at the Council's Harlow Science Park, continuing a legacy that saw the first development of fibre optic technology on the very same site 50 years ago. This summer will also see the start of construction of the first 2 buildings on the Harlow Science Park site, one for Anglia Ruskin University and the other, funded by the Council, which will provide space for growing businesses, providing more than 500,000 square feet of new business space and the potential to create 2,500 jobs. In a move welcomed by Harlow businesses, the Council will be applying to the Secretary of State for an Article 4 direction to prevent more residential permitted development in our enterprise zones, and we will now consider extending this to other industrial areas in the town. After years of work, our local plan, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build a better Harlow, is in an advanced state of readiness. We have worked closely with our neighbouring councils to ensure future growth benefits for Harlow. Thanks to this Labour administration's sound economic management, and despite the failures of government to invest in local communities, Harlow Council is in a position to continue its much-needed programme of regeneration. We will continue to put well-being and social inclusion at the heart of our vision for Harlow, offering opportunities for engagement to our children, young people, families and the elderly. To this end, the Council supported a host of Harlow 70 celebrations that were a huge success. Some events were so successful they will become annual events. If I detailed them all, Harlow could well be 80 before I finish. Large or small, they were all important, and I apologise that I must miss many out. The Leah Manning Centre held a Christmas Elf Day, not health, elf. The Playhouse, benefiting from secure funding, went from strength to strength. The Town Park hosted a music festival where they played both kinds of music, country and western. The Bush Fair returned, absent for 138 years due to drunkenness and licentious behaviour. Its return was a triumph for family fun, and I invite you all to attend again this year. Peck's Corner was recognised with a Certificate of Excellence and opened a changing places facility for disabled children. Harlow's Bonfire Night was attended by 22,000 people. It is now one of the biggest free admission displays in the east of England. Gray's Roof, that jewel of inclusivity, received the Queen's Award for Voluntary Services. Harlow Town Centre Awards were initiated. They too will become an annual event. Ageing mods rode out on classic scooters, most in better repair than their owners. Rob School rocked the park, sheep were shorn at Pet's Corner, the town park was orienteered on Orienteering Day, Harlow Brass Band blew their own trumpets, the very hungry Caterpillar visited the Learning Centre for lunch with preschoolers, Harlow Conservation Volunteers unveiled a bench in the Beastwood, the Hearts and Essex Community Farm invited us to tea in 1947. And the carnival returned to Harlow, with over 600 people taking part, 5,000 people lining the streets, and 25 floats and walking groups. The day was particularly special for Pippa, who shared her 5th birthday with the day of the carnival, and was invited by the council to be carnival princess. Pippa said, "I felt like a real princess. I liked everything." With an endorsement like that, the carnival must now become an annual event too. During the year of celebrations, over 19,000 people took an active part in a huge number of community events. But caring for our community isn't just about the nice stuff. Where necessary, we took tough and decisive action. The injunction which banned travellers from setting up unauthorised encampments across Harlow was extended until 2020. 3 more community safety officers joined our award-winning community safety team, working with the public and community groups to target antisocial behaviour and environmental crimes. Chair, Harlow Labour are putting the heart back into the community. We continue to work to create a clean and green environment. Parndon Lock Meadows was rejuvenated. The Green Flag Award Scheme recognised Parndon Wood Nature Reserve for the 9th consecutive year, and Harlow Town Park for the 2nd time.
Can you start winding up?
Yes, as 2 of the very best green spaces in the world. The council received praise for its vision in maintaining and regeneration of the town park. Leafy dams were created in Parndon and Riston Wood, and an earth bund built on Kingsmore playing field. 2 people were prosecuted for environmental offences and fined over £800 following successful action taken by the council. Whilst this shows our intent, litter remains a problem, despite the efforts of community volunteers. Picking up litter can never be a complete solution. What is needed is a culture of change. Later this year, we'll be calling for cross-party support for an anti-littering initiative. Toads, frogs, newts and neighbouring human residents celebrated the restoration of the historic Oakwood Pond in Little Parndon. Unlike Conservatives, who supported a national leader that wanted to cut the green crap, Labour are committed to delivering the clean and green environment that adds so much to the health and well-being of residents. Last paragraph. Labour's ability to deliver a thriving Harlow rests on our commitment to invest in infrastructure, communities and supporting people.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations to Councillor Ingle on his first State of the Town debate. Chair, forgive my indulgence before I talk about the state of the town myself, but this year has been particularly challenging for myself and my family. To be brutally honest, I think you all know I was dying. Thankfully, the kidney that my mum kindly gave me appears to be functioning well, and I'm pretty much back to my old self. I would like to tonight publicly thank members from both sides and officers for their kind words, their thoughts and prayers. It was very much appreciated by myself, my mum and my family, particularly in the hardest of days. I'd also like to thank my Deputy Councillor Carol Charles for his continued support and hard work. He has an incredible political mind and a superb work ethic. For this year, Chair, is a celebration for me, not only because of my health, but also because it's my 20th year on the council and leading my group. During that time, I've had many experiences in this council, but the one that sticks in my mind probably the most is this debate each year, where we get the chance to look at what's gone on in the council, what's gone on in the town, but also look forward to the future. Starting this year with the political changes that we've seen, Chair, the town's MP, Robert Halfon, was re-elected with a whopping 54% of the vote. And in the local elections, my party won the popular vote also. Chair, the Labour Party may control the council, but more people in both local and national elections voted for this side. My message tonight to the administration is ignore those voters at your peril. In fact, In local elections, we've seen 3 leaders of the council in 1 year from one administration. I think that is a record. I think we can now agree that Momentum and the left have completely taken over Harlow Labour. So much so that I'm reminded of a joke. What's blue and redundant? Blairites.
It's Tory government.
Moving to issues, Chair, the single biggest issue facing the town in coming years, I believe, is the local plan. And unfortunately, I disagree here with the Leader of the Council because I believe the Council has fluffed it. Time and again, my group have asked the administration to rethink and consult the residents properly. Because I believe Harlow residents want to engage with the Council on issues as big as this, but the Council doesn't appear to want to listen to them. Perhaps I'm being ungenerous, and perhaps members opposite really don't understand the issue that's going on. I'll explain it. In the present consultation, the pre-submission publication comments can only relate to the legal compliance of the plan. Let's be clear, the latest consultation is on process, not content. By going straight to a Regulation 19 stage, the Council is publishing the final form of the local plan and just asking residents to comment on the process of getting there. The plan will not be changed before it's submitted, with housing placed where people really don't want it. Please do not be surprised, Chair, if when the final plan is published, there is mass uproar against it. Moving forward, I agree with Councillor Ingle, we need to continue the conversation about not just where housing grows, but the type of housing. And it pleases me to hear him talk about executive housing, something that previous administrations have forgotten. And it's great news, Chair, that this administration plans to build new council houses. It's just a shame that they're basically following the same method that they threw out when we proposed it at budget night. Once again, following our lead. I do want to reiterate, though, Chair, my group and my party's commitment to council housing. I'm proud that between 2010 to 2017, Conservative-led governments built nearly 4 times the number of council homes than Labour did between 1997 and 2010. However, that is not enough. And nationally, we need a joined-up, cross-party conversation about the future of housing in our country and not just social housing. I'm happy to lend my support to any effort that helps inform my party, both nationally and wider, on that point. I know not all Conservatives feel the same as I do, and I would be happy to join with the leader to push that debate nationally. I say that as a parent of a 5th-generation Harlow girl who will one day want to have a house of her own in this town. I also want to plug the consultation for the future of the town centre that's going on at the moment. I look forward to the publication by the administration of the Town Centre Action Plan, and I encourage the administration to think big, to be ambitious with that plan. We have previously had a proud history in Harlow of working together, cross-party, regardless of the administration, on items of regeneration, something that Councillor Durkin pushed very strongly. Sadly, that doesn't appear to be the case anymore, and that really is a shame if you don't want our support on regeneration. But we do want to see truly ambitious plans for our town centre, as befits the place that I consider to be the engine room of the London Stansted-Cambridge corridor. The past year has seen a number of long-term plans starting to come to fruition that the leader has mentioned. The enterprise zone. It seems like a lifetime ago that Chancellor George Osborne awarded one of only 22 enterprise zones in the country to Harlow, a decision that will ultimately provide 1 in 10 jobs in this town. It's great to see the development of the sites progressing at such a pace, and I look forward to more of them coming on stream. Another good development for Harlow is Public Health England. I remember as leader sat in this building with Malcolm Morley, who is now no longer working here, in total shock when GSK informed us that they would be losing the town. We started then to try and think what we could do to replace them. And I'm pleased to see that 7 years later we know PHE will definitely be filling that hole. A decision I'm sure would not have come about without constant lobbying at Westminster by Rob. I look forward to the eventual opening of that site. Of course, Harlow, Chair, doesn't just need housing and jobs. It needs decent infrastructure. The continued focus on and delivery of Junction 7A is a must for this town. The need, I know not everyone agrees on the position of that road, of that junction, but the need is without question. Government and County Council support on this issue has been invaluable, and I cannot wait for the solution to be delivered. Our traffic must flow if Harlow is to be a successful and healthy economy. And on health, Princess Alexandra Hospital this year came out with special measures and with its CQC report. And I'm sure I speak for all members in the Chamber when I thank the hard-working staff at the hospital for everything they do for the town. Looking to the future of the hospital, our MP continues to push for a new hospital for the town, raising it again just on Tuesday in the House. I hope that all sections of the community and a cross-spectrum of politicians in this town will stand shoulder to shoulder with Rob on pushing this, regardless of our political differences. And finally, Chair, I want to offer my thanks to the officer corps in this council. My group has been ably supported by them over the last year, as I'm sure the administration have from a number of the things that Councillor Hindle has announced that have happened. I want to thank them via Brian in this debate tonight publicly. In summation, Chair, Harlow stands on the edge of greatness. I believe that, I really do. But it will only achieve it by not being introspective. Success is being delivered for this town and will continue to be delivered for Harlow. But despite however unpalatable it is to momentum on the left, only by working with partners like the Conservative County Council, the Conservative Government and the Conservative MP. Thank you.
Thank you. I now open up the debate. You've got 5 minutes each. Whoever. Councillor Durkin.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome to your position. Can I also congratulate both the leaders for inspirational speeches, one 20 years old, one 20 minutes old, but actually really capturing the essence of what this council is all about. I think tonight's debate is about welcoming and celebrating the achievements of Harlow. It's about its staff, and it's about its residents, and it's about our residents' associations and groups. We do have challenges, and we do have changes that have taken place over the last 12 months and will continue to take place. But we as an administration have enabled Harlow to both grow and prosper, and that is something that we should be proud of and we should celebrate from. Harlow is about community. Community is about a diverse and multicultural society. Society is about values and principles. And Harlow Labour has strong values and strong principles that we have brought into this chamber to make those differences for the community that we all love and we all cherish. Whilst we do have political differences, that's absolutely fine. We also accept, and I think the speeches showed that tonight, that we have more in common than we actually have separate. This year will be a challenge for all of us. Andrew has alluded to the local plan, and we're not hiding and we're not disappearing from that really important debate and discussion that needs to take place. We need to get that right, because this is what the pioneers did 70 years ago, and this is what we need to be doing to ensure that we have safety and security. But I do hope that the essence of tonight's debate between the two leaders has shown a maturity. It's been informed, it's been balanced, and it's been a good debate, and I hope we will be able to continue that. We need to thank a lot of people. We've also mentioned people in the past, Malcolm Morley, former leaders of this council, but we also need to welcome and support new people who I see at the top table tonight into our lovely Harlow. We also need to spend a moment also to remember senior officers who are not well at the present time, and I'm sure collectively we all send our best wishes to that particular person. So through your chair, I'm sure we can have a well, honest, robust, fair and reflective debate, both in full council and in all the committees that we all serve, but sometimes goes under the radar for people that aren't there. Harlow and Labour have brought success in the past. Harlow under Labour will bring success for the future. Achievement, celebration, change and challenge. We're ready. Harlow's ready. Labour's ready. like Andrew, let's work together and make it successful. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I shall be speaking about the HTS group tonight, having declared the interest. I'd like to start by paying tribute to former Director Councillor Strachan for his hard work over the past 2.5 years. Thank you. And obviously to Councillor Davis, who's worked alongside us, and also pay a welcome to Councillor Vince, who has quite a steep learning curve. The administration is making a big play on how important HTS is and how it is turning into their very own magic money tree. But it's important to remember that HTS is a business. It's a separate legal entity, a commercial company. Yes, it may be owned by the council, but it is not part of the council. It is an enterprise which, through dint of hard work and focus, achieved £1 million profit in its first year of operation. Now you, over there, need those profits to support spending in the general fund, even though most of the profits are actually generated from HRA work. And I'm sure the housing portfolio holder may have a view on that. But to ensure that profitability, HTS needs certainty. And for that sustainability, the company needs to be able to plan for the future. What staff will it need? What training will they require? What equipment will they need? Should we buy or lease that equipment? For example, take the business cases for HRA plan maintenance last year. This work is worth nearly £6 million a year to HTS, almost a quarter of the turnover. But the contracts were not awarded until halfway through the year. We at HTS had to keep staff ready for that work, but with almost nothing for them to do. This is not good for profits nor staff morale. We've been trying to agree a business plan with the council for the last 6 months, setting out our course for the next few years, how we can do more work for council and for third parties. But it's been difficult finding a date to discuss it. This is not helpful. What are your priorities? Where should HTS be directing its investment? We obviously welcome proposals to build and convert houses, but when? Can we be doing something else in the meantime to utilise our assets, or just sit around waiting for a decision? We have a great workforce who do good work. Customer satisfaction is around 98%. We have an experienced management team, an ambitious chief executive and chairman. And you need to make the most of them. But it's not all about money. It's about improving the town we and HTS so proudly serve, Harlow. Let us get on with building those houses. Let us set up the Housing and Regen Company now. Let us grow the contracts with you, the council, which HTS can deliver. And let us work with sharper timelines through greater commercial collaboration now. Madam Chairman, HTS has shown what we can do. The administration need to show us what they want. Otherwise, those profits are not going to reappear.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you, Chair. I'm mainly going to concentrate on housing tonight. This administration continues with the council to perform and to meet challenges and opportunities facing housing in Harlow today with reduced budgets. The top priority continues to be more and improved housing that generally is affordable and generally is for rent. It has been another year of challenges with increased government directives and legislation, unfortunately with fewer resources to tackle local priorities. However, Housing Service continues to report strong performance overall. The Modern Homes programme has reached to date over 8,000 homes with 46,000 improvements, illustrating our ambition and scale of delivery, transforming council housing in Harlow. These priorities have included replacements of kitchens, bathrooms, installation of energy efficiency schemes, replacement, electrical wiring replacement, district heating and implementation of external works. All achieved, as Councillor Carter's agreed, work with our HTS that we set up. It was this administration's vision to set up HTS, a vision they did not share and did not support. What a success story HTS has become with us, the council, the only shareholder. We continue to have strong performance, collecting rent and service charges, turning around empty properties and repairing your homes. Help residents manage their financial circumstances by raising awareness of support on offer, working vacancies and understanding potential impact on the rollout of universal credit. Celebrated for the 4th year running, partnership with Essex County Council and Maniple Home Care to provide extra care housing at Summers Farm Close for the most elderly and vulnerable people in our town. Achieved a National Accreditation Award for our Careline scheme, which offers security to the most vulnerable residents. Strong performance on responding to repairs and voids, leaseholder energy efficiency. Obtained new government grant for tackling homelessness and rough sleeping, which underlines our strong partnership with Streets to Homes. This environment has been in place since 2010 and is likely to be reviewed following the fire at Greenfield Tower in London. The Council reviews its fire risk assessments annually, identifying short, medium and long-term priorities. The Government's Planning and Housing Act 2016 brought significant changes to our provision and management of affordable housing, which also will affect social housing. Residents will be kept updated on all means of housing in Harlow. Having less resources to meet the priorities will remain, so the Council will continue to plan ahead. Key issues for myself and the priorities for housing and what is importantly today, which is making more housing available, a better choice of housing, tackling the growing need for supported housing, which is really crucial, helping to improve choices for those in housing need, and improving health and well-being for better housing conditions, continuing to improve housing standards by investing and targeting resources. There's likely to be more regulation this year following the tragic fire at Greenfield Tower in London. We need to implement the new Homelessness Reduction Act in 2017, which will impose new processes upon us. We've got the rollout of universal credit, which was commenced in September 2017. We're going to be building new housing. This year, Councillor Carter, we're going to start building new council housing in this town. Finally, I really look forward to setting up another branch of HTS, our Housing and Regeneration Company, which will go a long way to achieving this administration's priorities. And can I remind the party opposite, it's been mentioned only once or twice tonight, about we turned down your budget alternative of building council housing. Let's make it clear. Your budget alternative was about one site in Old Harlow, which we didn't even own, with monies that didn't even add up. This administration actually sees it as a bigger picture than that. We didn't turn it down, it was just we had more important things to do. Like most people, I'm quite upset to see England go out of the World Cup last night, but I'm sure if we'd have gone on to win on Sunday, the party opposite would have probably claimed it was their game to go to the World Cup. Finally, Chair, I think it's been a really successful year with reduced funding coming from this Conservative government, and I'd like to place on my record my thanks to all the officers that work with me at housing and this administration in housing in a very difficult year. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Danvers.
Well, Chair, thank you for that. In regards to our record, which has become a fine record over the last 6 years, that we've actually tried to get the show on the road, given what we were actually left with in 2012, I believe. It's taken a long time to get there, and one of the reasons is that they're quite understandable that they actually opposed the setting up of HTS, is that a few months before they left office, knowing, and I take Councillor Johnson's point, knowing that Labour had actually been voted the majority party in 2010, 2011 and 2012 when we took over, they actually just a few months before gave Keir another 5-year extension of their contract.
3 years.
And that money then started to come out of this town, and we actually can see with HTS the way in which the rewards, and just even looking at our landscaping alone, let's see what that was actually brought us. As far as Councillor Carter is concerned, it's like the road to Damascus. I don't think it's Simon anymore. Presumably it's like Saul and Paul, it's Simon and Pymon. At the end of the day, I actually appreciate a kind of conversion to actually having direct services again. And in terms of all of these privatisation things, we see a government failing, Grayling failing with the probation service, and now with public transport. We see a failing county council represented by a third of the people, actually opposite. Failing county council that actually has given up on actually repairing our roads. Simon talks about the traffic must flow. Well, tell that to the people of Harlow when they're going over the potholes and trying to actually decide which side of the road to actually drive on, to actually avoid them. They've actually given up on so many things. A failing county council that boasted year on year, when I was on it, what a great job they were doing. They're now 80 to 100 million pounds short. Had we actually had the Tories actually going on in this council for longer, they too actually said, let's freeze the council tax. They now will be 800,000 to £1 million adrift. Councillor Charles told us in February, we don't have to answer about that. We wouldn't actually say where the money's coming from. That's not our job. That's exactly what he said in February. I would like to know where that £1 million black hole would actually come from. And when we took over, the playhouse was not being funded, the paddling pools, which now hopefully are going to actually have regeneration and so on, we've actually got the wherewithal to actually make that happen. And then suddenly some credit has been given to our MP. Well, at the end of the day, this is the MP that voted for the privatisation of the National Health Service at the very beginning of the Tory government in 2011. What's going to happen to Harlow Hospital? What's the future with the government, with a new minister in charge, so hell-bent on actually having privatised? It's been on record of actually wanting to see the National Health Service privatised. It certainly is not safe in their hands. So at the end of the day, Chair, I really think Mark has done exceedingly well to actually put a summary together of what a successful year that we've actually had. And I congratulate him on actually being so succinct. Thank you.
Chair, Harlow is growing and its employment base is becoming more diverse. The town has an opportunity to be one of the key economic drivers in the east of England. This council must be more ambitious and set a goal to compete with some of the bigger population centres that surround us. The council's single focus should be to work day and night to ensure that local residents can access good quality housing, get from A to B in the town easily by foot or by car through smart urban design, continue to have their bins collected, be able to enjoy leisure and cultural activities on offer, and compete for good local employment opportunities. We need a council that focuses on reinforcing the view that this town is a place to bring up your family, access a good standard of education, a place residents are proud to call their home. Instead, this administration is dominated by infighting. The well-respected former leader of this council was ousted by elements of the hard left and the falsely placed ambitions of councillors opposite.
Wow.
The newly elected leader of this council moved to heal the rift in this group by creating 2 new cabinet roles, rewarding momentum-backed councillors with thousands of taxpayers' money for allowances.
Right. Can councillors please not make any comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. The administration has also pursued a vanity project to discover Harlow. I asked the administration tonight how much their outside public relations consultants' thinking place cost. It simply isn't good enough for this administration not to tell members of this council how much something costs, particularly when it's an external PR consultant. There are serious questions over the competence of this administration and how it makes decisions. A clear narrative is developing, infighting and spending to satisfy the administration's egos. Harlow deserves better. There are many challenges facing our town. We need affordable housing as part of the new sustainable developments to meet the needs not only of first-time buyers, but tenants in this town. But the administration's local plan does not stack up. The plan will see thousands of houses built with poor infrastructure and unrealistic future transport corridors. Listening to the needs of local business and taking action to support them is crucial too. The Town Centre Action Plan must be ambitious. I hope that residents are vocal and call on this administration to offer a radical roadmap for town centre regeneration so that it becomes the best regional shopping and business hub in this part of the country. Our communities also face challenges. Harlow has an increasingly ageing population. There are many older people who live socially isolated lives and feel disconnected from their community. The council must, as a community leader, target vulnerable groups of older people and work with them to ensure they feel part of their home. The challenge of building a more connected community is no easy task, and I don't underestimate that. But it is something this council should make a priority and will have cross-party support. Chair, Harlow is led by an administration dominated by a hard left faction that puts the interests above themselves above the needs of local residents. Residents spoke loudly and clearly at the local elections by rejecting Labour's parliamentary candidate in Stapletime. Remember that. We on this side of the chamber are not complacent about the challenges Harlow faces. It is Harlow Conservatives who are ready to lead this town forward, not to have the town managed in decline by the hard left.
Councillor Beckett?
Thank you, Chair. I welcome this debate, even if, true to form, it slipped into the cheapest party political grandstanding and, as per usual, become disingenuous, ill-mannered and ill-tempered. There's not a single person in this room unable to conduct themselves in a dignified manner that befits representatives of this town, and yet we're seemingly unable to reflect that in full council meetings. What a shame. We cheapen the debate by using quips like magic money trees. We may not be in the rag trade, but I believe as an administration we have shown our ability to cut our cloth accordingly. I warmly welcome the leader's statement, and in particular the promises of health and well-being being prominent. I'm thrilled by Councillor Ingall's assertion that we will continue to put well-being and social inclusion at the heart of our vision for Harlow. And I think in time we can actually go further than that. I foresee a time, and in fact I will argue that it's essential, that health and well-being becomes the golden thread through which each and every one of our policies, from asset management to licensing, community safety to environment, lettings and leisure, can be seen. I also welcome the ongoing work of Public Health England and their increasing profile within the town and close relationships that are being formed. I'm also proud to confirm that through Harlow's Health and Wellbeing Board, we are already working on many of the same priorities PHE including cancer, mental health, nutrition, smoking, alcohol, diabetes and dementia. We need to lead by example. I'm a non-smoker who 3 years ago was on 20 cigarettes a day, and I haven't drunk alcohol for 6 months. I recommend that you try these things if you need to. I just need to quit on the late night snacks. Chair, I want to thank our officers who have helped bring our health and wellbeing strategy to life. I will single out Maureen Pearman and Rory Davis for helping bring about a full mental health awareness event at Harlow Playhouse. And Chris Purvis, the seldom seen face behind many of the sports and fitness initiatives the Council supports. But I would particularly like to take this opportunity to wish well and thank Lourdes Madagascar, our public health improvement practitioner, who will soon be leaving us for a new job. Lourdes has not only brought a breadth of perspective across Essex and through her work with local authorities, but has also helped us lever in funds to deliver against our objectives. Chair, I will go back and welcome the maturity and the robustness that the Leader of the Council brought to the opening of this debate, and the reply from the Leader of the Opposition. Back to rude health. A welcome sight, Andrew. Finally, Chair, I don't believe we publicly recognise the work of our staff enough. I'm glad that Colleen has been welcomed by Councillor Durkin. The way to get away from having our unsung heroes is to learn to sing a little more. Thank you, Chair.
40-minute debate is now up, so now we go back to Councillor Johnson to sum up, and you've got your 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure that the debate has gone where I hoped it would go tonight, and I'm not sure I heard from many of the portfolio holders, considering how many of them there are now. It's a shame. It's a shame that we didn't. And particularly, Chair, I want to highlight regeneration. It's been mentioned a few times, but I want to expand on something I said in my opening remarks. Previous administrations of all colours have welcomed cross-party support in this chamber to large regeneration schemes. And as I said, Councillor Durkin had very much pushed that whilst he was in that portfolio. I was hoping tonight we would hear from the new portfolio holder that was still welcome and wanted, given the fact that this side has been cut out of a number of items recently to do with regeneration. I warn the Leader of the Council that it will be far more difficult to get government to listen to major regeneration schemes if we do not carry a cross-party consensus, and by continually cutting the opposition group out of some of those things, you are much more likely for that to happen. Governance wasn't mentioned in the debate. I welcome the new head of governance, but there are some serious issues, some very basic serious issues that I know Councillor Churchill is already raising from our side with that new head. The fact that I can't get council emails on a regular basis and my iPad spends more time in being repaired than it does in my house says something hugely important about this council and where we are going. If members cannot have basic communication with each other, and for whatever reason our IT department refuses to forward emails to our alternative email addresses, it's very difficult for members to operate effectively and to know what's going on. This must be sorted out by the new portfolio holder. HTS. I think I'm mature enough as a politician to say when I've got things wrong. And I do think this side got things wrong with HTS. I think that was complicated by poor explanations from the administration and a very poorly scoped out plan on HTS. But I'll hold my hands up. It does appear to be being a success. £1 million profit in the first year is a great start. But there are still serious issues and concerns, like my colleague Councillor Carter has raised. The council cannot just look upon HTS as a cash cow. There must be proper business planning between the council and HTS. And I'll point out to the council chair that the fact that members from both sides of their chamber, to all of their credit, undertake regular litter picks, cut down bushes and brambles, or even clean signs with buckets of water, is a damning indictment of the council's prioritisation and management of that contract. And whilst I'm talking about environmental issues, I want to raise an issue as a ward councillor, as a councillor for Church Langley. I want to express my deep concerns about the Church Langley Fund, left by developers to lean upon as the area developed. Previous Labour administrations drained this fund to support other spending priorities in the town. My administration replaced that fund when we restored the council's finances to good health, whatever Councillor Danvers will stand and say. It is shocking to me that in this administrative year, we've had to chase for over 6 months, both in committee and out, to get answers about the state of that fund. And I'm told it may be possible that cash has already been plundered in the previous few years from that fund. I want to see that used as it is supposed to be used.
What about 350 grand then?
Returning to the local plan, and I welcome the intervention from Councillor Durkin, saying that they're not running from the local plan, and I hope they're not. But that statement does also provide me with some concern that my point about the administration not understanding the issue of the consultation process is alive and well. It is very difficult for Councillor Durkin to say the administration want to debate the local plan when all they are allowing in the consultation process is to debate the process itself and not the content of the local plan. And that has been the subject of my group's frustrations over the past couple of years with this process. I agree, Chair, that tonight there's been a lot said about the good things that are happening in Harlow. And I want to reiterate, although the leader has not acknowledged it yet, I hope he will, he took credit for a great deal of work that was not started by his administration, that has been supported by our partners, supported by previous administrations, and supported by the opposition. And I hope I will hear that acknowledgement from him in his summing up. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you, Chair. Where to start?
Very beginning.
Councillor Charles, you accused of us of running a vanity project and criticised the extra 2 portfolio holders. Portfolio holders whose allowance amounts to £2,850 a year, costing the average household 15 pence per year. That's not each, that's per household. Yet I haven't heard you once criticise the huge amount of extra money that was taken from Harlow residents by Essex County Council when they raised their precept for Harlow residents by £13.32 per annum compared to our 15p. I didn't hear you, that's the Essex Police and Crime Commissioner. I didn't hear you complain about the nearly £60 that Essex County Council puts up Band D council tax for Harlow. That's a total of £71. Not a dicky bird of complaint. Yet here you are trying to lambast us for putting up the, for allowing extra allowances to the tune of 15 pence a year. And Councillor Charles, you talk about us being ambitious about regeneration. You talk about us being ambitious about economic development. And yet your criticism is that we put extra resources into regeneration and into economic development. And are you really saying that when you feel we should be paying more attention to the elderly, that the appointment of somebody whose specific role in equalities and diversity is to look at disadvantaged groups, including the elderly, you seem to be worse than the worst of your government ministers who want their cake and eat it. So let's go back. Let's go back to the spirit of positivity. Let's go back to the spirit of positivity and the things that I agree with that Councillor Johnson said. He said success is being delivered. It is. It's being delivered because of the Harlow Council. He said it's important that we work together. We do work together. I have a meeting planned with our MP, during which I shall be asking him how he can help us reverse the £338,000 or 10.1% cut in government funding to this council. I'll be meeting with him, I'll be seeking his support. Don't you worry. We work well with businesses. The Thinking Place document and our plans for the future is supported by Harlow Business. We work well with the third sector, volunteers and residents. Chair, this is a successful administration. It was a successful administration when John Clemton was the leader. And the members opposite spent the first 2 years of my tenure as a councillor doing nothing but criticising him. And then all of a sudden we have this Damascene conversion where John Clemton was a marvellous leader, I think he was, who has been cruelly ousted by the hard left. I look at my team here. When I came into office, of these 20 people standing here, I think there are still 18 remaining. John has been replaced by Chris. Eugene is a new councillor. If the previous administration was so hard done by and taken over by such a rabid bunch of loony lefties, where are they? Where are they? So let me finish by thanking Councillor Charles for his entertaining Jackanory 15 minutes. 5, it seemed like 15. Let me agree with Andrew Johnson. We are a successful administration. We will remain a successful administration, and we are happy to work with anybody and everybody that will help us achieve our core values: more and better housing, a clean and green environment, and ensuring the health and well-being of all of our residents.
Okay, that's the end of the debate. We now get on to item 10, references from Cabinet Committee. There are none. Item 11, reports of officers. There are none. And on the minutes of Cabinet and Committee meetings, item 12, to note A to I. And the last one is the item 13, matters of urgent business.
I thought there was one change, Chair.
Not on my books.
No,
No. Fine.
If we finished the council meeting, thank you very much. Okay.